Well-known American political activist Charlie Kirk was murdered. And I think we should all just reflect a moment on what happened. Young guy was killed, 31 years old, and he was killed because of his messaging. Now, I've listened to his messaging. It ties in with the Donald Trump messaging. He's part of that grouping. But it's words. The guy gets up, he says what he has to say. He has always been prepared to have debates with people that he disagreed with. He's always been respectful. He's never been a guy who threatened violence or even supported violence. Yeah, he did say some things which, depending on your beliefs, you may not agree with. But I don't think by any stretch one could call him a radical. Now, in my own opinion, what set the ground for this kind of thing to happen is the fact that in the world as it is today, we're too quick to give people labels. Everybody's a radical. Everybody is ultra-right or ultra-left. Everybody is always 2 steps from Hitler. No, people, let's just rein it in a bit. You're allowed to disagree. We are allowed to disagree with one another. It doesn't mean that anybody that votes for this party wants to create the Soviet Union and everybody in that party wants to create, I don't know, the Third Reich. Perhaps there's a very, very broad range in between. And I think that has been lost in America. And I think in South Africa sometimes we forget that many people that we disagree with also want a better South Africa. And that maybe we should listen to them. And maybe if you don't like them, don't listen to them. Differing is good. We should have all kinds of people that have different opinions. That's why democracy has led to a parliamentary type of situation where people can get around a table and discuss and debate. And sometimes say, you know what, your idea is better than my idea. And change your view. That seems to be lost in America at the moment, and it's led to this tragic incident. Because everybody wants to triumph. You want to go out there and say, my point of view is the only one that matters. And this leads to people taking matters into their own hands. Like, I'll win this argument if you weren't there. You know, not everyone is a radical. Some people just want a better place. And some people want to do it this way, and some people want to do it that way, and we should respect everybody's views. Now, people have asked the question, am I afraid of giving my views? No, I'm not. Not at all. And I don't think South Africa is like America. I don't think, in America they maybe watch too much television. That's why these incidents always happen in America. But I think that the trap we mustn't fall into is not one about guns or violence. It's about allowing other people to have different views to you. That's fine. Let's have different views to each other. I can understand people peddling hate in a time of war. But I can't understand why people will get so offended that they'll want to kill another because they view the world differently to them. So, Charlie Kirk, cut down by somebody who clearly was offended by words that he had to say, not by actions that he did, is a sad day regardless of your political thoughts. I watched a lot of what he did. I didn't agree with a lot of it. I agreed with some of it. I thought some of his statements were clumsy. I thought some of his statements were clever. But he was a guy who got out there and he was prepared to speak to everybody. And I think that counts for a lot. So all I would say on the matter is that I'm very grateful that I live in South Africa, which in many ways is set up to be a more radical place than America, but yet we find each other and we can discuss really hard issues with each other. You know, I've often sat down with people that I'm diametrically opposed to politically. I see a completely different South Africa to what they do. I see completely different solutions to what they see. But it's worth sitting down and discussing it with an open mind. Perhaps they've got an idea that I haven't thought of. Perhaps I've got an idea that they haven't thought of. And that's fine. That's one way you make a country better. I watched America at its finest when the country was growing, when the economy was growing, and the place where it seemed to be a happy country. And that was when people met in the middle, agreed on certain things, debated, discussed, and that particular country flourished and became the behemoth that it is today. I now see a country divided and going in the wrong direction, and it saddens me. The same goes for South Africa. If we could just find each other, the country would be a better place. So let's reflect on this murder of Charlie Kirk and be grateful that this kind of thing doesn't happen in South Africa, because we talk, and let's keep talking. Thank you so much.